the Niners have $50 million in cap space. Technically they have like some of the most cap space in the league. But for the second year in a row, they have a bunch of players they need to extend. Brock Purdy, obviously. George Kittle, obviously. And then there's so many free agents. They want to bring back Greenlaw. They may not be able to bring back Hufanga. They're probably not bringing back Charvarius Ward. They're definitely not bringing back Javon Hargrave or Deebo Samuel. So given all of that, all the money the Niners have earmarked for their own players right now, how do they get better? Obviously, the draft is great. They have all those picks, but is there a way is there anything they can do, I guess, in free agency to actually move the needle? Because as they say, you're either getting better or you're getting worse. And last year they got worse while trying to stay the same.
I think first and foremost, you have to understand where you're at. And this is what worries me about the 49ers and potentially mortgaging the future is I feel like they are looking at this like it's still a Super Bowl or bust team. And I don't believe that that's where they're truly at anymore. But if you don't recognize that, then that means you're going to take the home run swing in free agency and forego the depth and maybe some draft picks and the long-term viability of being a contender. Really what they should have taken away from the Eagles, and I didn't want to use it in both segments, so I used something different last segment, is that you build through the draft. The Philadelphia Eagles in 2022 had a completely different top 5 pass rushers than what they had this year. They had 70 sacks in 2022, and I would argue this unit that they brought to the Super Bowl, no, they didn't have the statistics to back it up, but by the time they got to the Super Bowl, this unit was better than that.
Way better.
In the moment. I agree.
That D-line flopped against the Chiefs 2 years ago.
Yes.
In the moment,
and
they're better.
All of them. And all of them were drafted, and all of them were new. All of them were new. And I'm looking at them right now, and there was a graphic that was shown in the Super Bowl of the 3 guys that made the biggest impact for the Philadelphia Eagles in that game defensively. It was Sweat, it was Milton Williams, and it was Braun. All 3 of them are free agents. And I would not be shocked if they let all of them walk.
Right.
You know why? Because for Milton Williams, they drafted a Jomo 2 years ago. He's ready to slide in.
Right.
For Sweat, they drafted Jalix Hunt. He's ready to go.
Ready to go.
They already have the guys in the building to replace them. So they're not worried about it. And how did they do that? By sticking to the plan and year after year after year, adding to the depth, not being afraid to let guys walk. When you lose 2 Hall of Fame players like Fletcher Cox and Kelsey, literally in back-to-back years, those are the heartbeat of your defense and your offensive line. They lost both of them, still won a Super Bowl. It doesn't matter. They have a formula and they stick to it. So the San Francisco 49ers really have to, if they want to get better, this is not a sprint. This is a long-term race, especially when you lock in your franchise quarterback. They have to continue to build through the draft and not give up assets and not take home run swings in free agency. That is not how you're going to get better and create long-term viability.
Great answer. Love that answer. I do want to also point out that Saquon Barkley and Mekhi Becton were 2 genius additions as well.
They were.
But that was a great answer. I love that. Who's next?
I'll go. I think, although I think Jesse's correct, I'm going to take it a different direction. I think there's 2 free agents that I would like the 49ers to bring in, along with building through the draft. This is a really good draft for defensive tackle standpoint. I just read somebody's article had them 24 defensive tackles as starters in this draft, which is a great sign for the 49ers, and they should draft 2 of them. But I would also bring in DJ Jones. I know we talked about it before, but he is a top 3 run stuffer in the NFL last year. I would bring him back. And then on the other side of the ball, right in the same place, I would bring in the guy that we talked about when Coach hosted the 4-man front, Drew Dahlman. He has ties with the San Francisco 49ers. He's perfect for this zone run scheme that the 49ers run. So to me, we're talking about building in the trenches. Those are 2 veterans that can help with that immediately. DJ Jones, top run stuffer. Drew Dahlman, one of the best run zone centers in the NFL. I think you bring in those 2 guys as centerpieces on both sides of the line of scrimmage, and then add in the depth through the draft. I mean, that's the one thing that worries me about this team is they had a good draft last year. But they really haven't nailed it so much in the earlier rounds in the past. And so I'm a little worried whether or not they do a good job in this coming draft. I'm hopeful.
Coach.
Hi, guys.
Yeah, great. So definitely Drew Dahlman. I mean, that's been somebody that I've been standing on the table for all off season. I believe that it's an immediate fix. 26 years old, definitely ready to come in and plug and play and start immediately for us. But for me, I think that we're kind of missing the mark on something that you mentioned earlier in the show, Grant, is that we've got to find another corner. At the very least, we got to find a number 2 corner if we think that Deommodore Lenoir is going to be our number 1. Travarius Ward is not coming back. I think that's kind of like the elephant in the room, or maybe because it was just so abrupt of him saying how he feels about this place mentally. We got to find a number 1 corner. For me, it's going to be hard to find corners in this year's draft that I would agree with. Right now, in the top 50, as far as corners are concerned, there's maybe 5. All right. I would go with Will Johnson, Travis Hunter, which are definitely out of our league. Benjamin Moritz, which is a first-round guy, definitely out of our league. You maybe got Siobhan Rivet or Jahadi Barron out of Texas. Outside of that, you're really looking at maybe a rookie to come in here, or you're looking at a second-year Renardo Green to come in, and who knows what you're going to get out of what's the kid that we got? Darrell Luter Jr. Dante Jackson, corner out of Pittsburgh Steelers, is going to be a free agent coming up. I think that this is somebody that we could bring in for us. He's 29 years old, all right? He won't hit his 30s until November, all right? And one thing about him is that he's going to come cheap, definitely cheaper than what we did with Deommodore Lenoir. I'm telling you right now, for a 2 to 3 year deal, you could be a workable deal that we could fit him in at $52 million probably, and get him in at some really good money. He's looking for a deal, and I think that could be somebody that could be a good stopgap for us to help us out in the secondary. Right now, we're also got to make a decision at free safety. I think that this year's draft is a very strong safety draft, which is weird because safeties are always kind of hit or miss in the draft. But this year's draft, there's a lot of day 2, day 3 guys that I like in Andrew Makuba, Malachi Moore out of Alabama. But right now, as far as a corner that we can depend on taking on number 1s and X's at week in and week out, I wouldn't be mad at Dante Jackson. But if we really wanted to swing for the fences as far as safety is concerned, we could really get better with trying to swing hard at Javon Harlan, safety out of Miami Dolphins. We bring him in, and as far as free safety is concerned, that's a done deal. Him matched with Malik Mustafa, we immediately don't have problems. We got a true center fielder. So right now, I think that if we did something at safety, maybe we could get better immediately with Javon Harlan, but that corner spot for me, it seems like it's something that we need to get handled in free agency rather than the draft, due to the fact that it's a pretty thin DB draft at corner.
Well, to Jesse's point, I do think the Niners are going to try to spend most of their efforts in the draft here. I don't know if they're going to do another like Javon Hargrave style contract. Now they signed Lenoir, so I don't know if they're going to sign another. They could sign like another Isaac Yiadom type corner, but I don't know if they'll sign another corner to a big contract, which is why Ward's going to leave. And then if Afunga's going to leave, I don't know if they'll sign a safety who's more expensive than him. They probably won't. So look, I'm going to try to Howie Roseman this one. If you're going to sign someone in free agency, you don't have a lot of money to spend because most of it has to go to Kittle and Purdy. So what's a position that can have a high impact at a low price that the Niners had a problem at last year?
Tight end
running back. About running back. Because again, so much depends on Christian McCaffrey. If he goes down again, if he's not great, where is this team going? So
Jordan Mason's probably gone.
Yeah, Jordan Mason's probably gone. Isaac Guerendo's cool, but you don't really know what he can give you. What about if you went out and gave Aaron Jones a 1-year contract? It wouldn't be that expensive. Now you'd be spending a hell of a lot of money at running back. He in and of himself wouldn't be super expensive, and he can do a lot of the things you do with Christian McCaffrey. If McCaffrey goes, he can catch passes. He fits your system. He just came. I mean, he knows the verbiage essentially, having been in, playing for Kevin O'Connell and LaFleur. I don't know. It wouldn't be a lot. It's a guy who could potentially give the Niners 1,000 yards if McCaffrey doesn't play, and play for $7 million.
Do you think Kyle will actually rotate running backs this year? Do you think that's a possibility?
No. I don't know. You know what? This year it may be. I don't know. There's a lot of names on this year's staff where is there a world where Kyle kind of is on his best behavior because he can't be the squeaky wheel. He can't be the sore thumb. You got Gus Bradley here. You got Robert Saleh. We all feel great about them being here. There's going to be a little bit of rejuvenation on the defense side of the ball. Could we possibly see some wrinkles out of Kyle as far as process?
I hope so.
No, I thought that last year.
It's a hot. It is a hot season for Kyle.
He's gonna, like
Kubiak's gonna come with the fresh ideas.
You can't be 6-11 and then come back and be 6-11. So they got it. Whatever they got to figure it out. Yeah.
Hey, maybe he will. Maybe Kyle. We'll see Kyle 2.0. I'd be cool.